here, on the very rim of known space, justice is a long way away.
Hello, my friends, and welcome to the Space Game Junkie Podcast. I, as always, am your co-host, Brian. Joining me, as always, is your co-host, Spaz.
I am a meat popsicle.
Nice. Your co-host, Julie.
I am a really bad cabbie.
Aren't we all? It takes practice. Your co-host, Thorsten.
Me too.
And your co-host, David.
I need coffee. Lots of coffee.
Jacob can't join us right now. He is a bit overwhelmed with university. So everyone send Jacob your smartest healing vibes, your smart vibes, whatever he needs to get through all the stuff he's got in university right now, because he's got a lot on his plate. So hopefully he can join us next week. But yeah, we totally get, why he's not here. So hopefully things settle down for him soon. Cause yeah, I don't miss university. I do not miss that anymore. Oh my God. So friends, for the first time in a long time, we have a guest. It's been a while since we had a guest. Cause I just haven't had the bandwidth mentally for guests, but with this guy, we had to bring him back because we're welcoming back Jasper Paul, the developer of Taxinaut, which, if you know anything about me at all, you know is one of my most anticipated games. Taxinaut has been on itch for the last, 2 years? Because we had you on about 2 years ago.
3 years.
3 years? Okay.
Yeah.
We had you on about 2.5 years ago, so it must be at least that long. It's been on itch for the last 3 years, but tomorrow, as we record this, September 15th, 2022, it is coming finally to Steam. So as soon as I heard that, I'm like, oh my God, we got to have Jasper back on the show to talk about this amazing game. So Jasper, for folks who might not know what Taxinaut is, can you give them the elevator pitch, please?
It's like a space taxi sim adventure in an open big galaxy.
And it's a big galaxy. I've got
It's huge.
Yeah, I've got a few hours in the game at least so far, because I don't want to play it too much because it's still early access, but I have at least, I think, 4 or 5 hours in at this point. And I think I've only left the first planet once, but I didn't really go anywhere. I just left to see what would happen, and then I just went right back. But the first planet itself is big and populated and full of things. And folks, this game has how big does this game get? Because it's got lots of star systems with lots of planets. How big does this game get?
Let me think now. There's about 120,000 star systems, of which I think 90,000 are populated.
Oh my God!
The other ones have only gas giants or something.
Oh my God! That's
Holy shit.
Yes, that's a good way to put it. Holy cats! By the prophets. I'm trying to replace one fictional set of expletives with another set of fictional expletives. So by the prophets, that is huge. My God. And yeah, like I've spent so much time just on this one planet. It amazes me that there are so many others and that you can go to them. And it's kind of amazing, y'all. Because, as Luke says, I love space and I love games that have taxi missions in them. You know, like any game that has a taxi mission in them, I want to play that. And the fact that you have made your game entirely about that just tickles me so much. And it's such a big game. And you've made it feel so huge. I love how you can't just get a hyperdrive and fling about wherever you want. You're just in a taxi. So you have to book passage on, what is it, either a ferry or a liner? Am I remembering that correctly? There's
transporters for short distance, and there's galactic liners for longer distance travel.
Yeah, and sometimes there might not be a liner going exactly to where you need, so you got to do some multiple ferry hops, I think the game told
that's
me.
it.
Yeah,
that's right.
Oh my God, I love it. I love it so much because that just makes the game feel huge, which it is. But the fact that you've not only that, but you've made it feel so alive as well.
Thank you. That's great. Thank you.
No, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I done a lot of work on that, trying to make it feel bubbly, so to speak, instead of dead. But
oh no! I mean, I love that you get like a little alerts on your control panel. You have like a radio station going with little alerts. I love that. Like if you crash into another. If you crash into it, which happens a lot when you're first playing, folks, this game takes practice. When you crash into another ship, if you're looking at the stream, those gray things, those aren't birds. They look like birds. Those are other ships driven by like actual people. And if you hit them, they'll charge you a fee and yell at you. And so I love that. I love that because it makes the universe feel so much more alive. It's not just like, oh, I hit a thing and nothing happens. No, someone's going to yell at you. You're going to get mad, and then it costs you money. So there are several consequences. And I also love, I don't know if this is a new thing or not. I like when you hit somebody and you get like the road rage attribute for a little while.
Yeah. Yeah, you get increasingly annoyed. And as you get more annoyed, it costs you more when you get annoyed by somebody again. So it's sort of, and after a while, your annoyance decreases and it goes away. You can also do other things to make it go away, like have a drink or take something. That will also calm you down.
Oh, really? That's amazing. And I love how, folks, I'm trying to explain the game. I'm gushing about the game, but I'm also trying to explain how much there is to it. Like, I've only seen a tiny bit of the iceberg, but even on this one planet, there is a ton of stuff. There are bars, there are hotels, what are some of the what are some of the buildings you can land on and interact with in the game? Like just
it's mainly it's mainly like diners, bars, traders, which sell all kinds of items and equipment, motels for sleeping. That's the main ones. But there's all kinds of special, unique places that have other things.
Right, and so folks, when you're flying this game, it's a tricky. I'm going to admit this. It's tricky. You can't just. It's not like WASD. You're following the mouse and you're using your mouse wheel to control your speed, and you have to avoid other craft. So it takes a bit of learning to learn how to do that. You don't stop.
Yeah,
go ahead.
I can't tell anymore whether it's actually still a little bit. I don't know whether I gotten so good at it. When I play it, I don't have a problem with it. But it's also something with the mouse. If you have a mouse that has like a clicky mouse wheel, that's very handy. But if you have a smooth mouse wheel, it's very hard, I think, to. I only experienced this myself recently when I played it on somebody else's computer, that a smooth mouse wheel makes it hard to distinguish between what point of the speed you're at, 1, 2, or 3. That's kind of makes it harder, actually. So I don't know what I'm going to do about that.
Ooh.
But
that's a good
something I never realized.
Oh,
Can I just say, for anybody who's ever seen any of the Star Wars movies, on the Capitol Planet, where all these spaceships are like in the streets, crisscrossing, one above the other, I've always wondered, I said, how do they avoid crashing into each other? And now I know, well, the new drivers like me probably don't.
Yeah. It's only on Yamo, the first planet, it's only the birds that really are a big problem, I think. The other people kind of stop for you as well. And on most planets, that's actually normal. It's just that Yamo is a bit of a, a shithole that you start on.
I have yet to leave Yamo, but I want a Steam achievement for the most accidents and the most people who demanded to get out of my cab.
Oh my god! that's actually a great idea.
Yeah, I looked at achievements, but the integration into the Steam API is a bit complicated, so I'll have to do a lot for that. So I don't know whether that's worth it for me. But there's achievements in the game itself. If you go to your house your home, and you click on the lounge, there's a little icon with like a trophy, and that will show you achievements and also give you kind of an idea what's in the game at the moment.
Yeah, I had one guy I refused. He wanted to go to the other side of the planet, and I refused to let him out of my cab. And he kept like, "Let me out! Let me out!
You can do that?
Yeah, I refused to let him out of the cab.
I didn't know you could do that.
When we finally got to where you're going, it's like he jumped out of the cab and runs.
Yeah, that's right. They slowly get pissed off if you take too long, and then they possibly run away when you land somewhere.
Yeah, I had one guy tell me to get a fucking move on. Like, he actually cursed me.
Oh, is there still that in it?
I think so. I think so.
I thought I removed a lot of it because I saw somebody play it on YouTube, and I'd never realized. I thought it was funny, but it looked brutal. He was constantly being berated by a thing that I had programmed, and I was like, oh no, that's too much. So I've toned it down, but there might still be, I don't know. What can I say?
One of the earlier passengers I had, and it wasn't until Brian said, just look to the right of your screen and click on the thing that says spaceport. And I kept trying to find it by just flying around, and he kept saying, look, I'm late for work, okay? I'm late. I finally said, look, let me out of this cab. Do you know where you're going? And I said, wow, I felt really bad.
Sorry.
That's great, though. That's great. That's great that the game like made you feel that way in a way. I really appreciate that.
Absolutely, because if I was new to driving a cab, this is how it would be. It's like, someone once asked my grandmother, where did you learn how to drive? In a cow pasture? And she said, yeah.
So
I'm planning on adding some stuff where you can intimidate the passenger back as well. Maybe shut them up for a moment.
Oh, nice.
Oh, great idea.
That is great. So I did want to ask one thing about Yamo here, because it's your first planet. Those birds are being controlled by other people, I believe. I don't remember. Are those actual birds, or are those like bird-shaped ships?
Yeah,
I don't remember.
No, there's supposed to be little flying creatures with somebody sitting on them or something.
Oh, that's why you can't see them at night, because they're actual creatures and they don't have running lights.
Yeah, well, I gave him a little blue bulb, but it's not much.
It's not. It isn't.
You can buy what you call that night vision goggles though at the traders often.
Oh, you can. Oh, I'll have to get those. Because the game has the game has day and night cycles, and flying around without those night vision goggles at night makes it, with these dark kind of gray birds, it makes it very hard to get around without hitting them. And I think in my second attempt, I hit like 3 of them, and I think I either cracked my windshield or broke my windshield or something like that. And then I tried to pick up a fare, and the guy looked at my cab. I was like, nope, I'm not getting in that. It was great.
Now that you mention it, I wonder if there would be, I'm not sure if there is, but I wonder if there would be an upgrade that maybe puts a highlight around them at night. Sort of like an outline that makes it easier to spot if you buy the upgrade.
Well, there is the night vision goggles that creates. Well, if you use them, you'll see it's makes the background all sort of greenish or pinkish, depending on which one you buy, and all the little flying objects will stand out. You'll see them very clearly then.
Oh, okay, that's good. I'll have to figure out how to buy that, because I'll tell you right now, making money is not my specialty in this game. I know you're supposed to make it, but I'm not good at it yet. I think my best run was 3 fares.
Sorry.
And then
I'm actually thinking of putting some difficulty sliders in the settings as well.
That's probably a good idea for newer players. Yeah, it's probably a good idea because it's and the thing is, I don't feel even hitting things. I never felt like it was unfair like I always knew it was on me because I would forget I could pause the game just by clicking it. You know, I would forget I could do that. And then I'd do something in the control panel. It's like, wait, what? I hit something? Oh, God damn it.
Yeah. I do that. If I get into a panic, I pause the game immediately and kind of see what's going on and then make a decision of which direction I'm moving or whatever. That helps me.
Yeah, that's what I started.
Anything.
Yeah, it took me a few hours to learn how to do that. I'll be honest. It's like I started doing that maybe 3 hours in. I'm like, oh, I should pause and then figure out my next move. Because so folks, if you can see the stream, there's two main areas to this game. There's the big main view on the left and the icon intensive control panel map, everything on the right. The nice thing is if you have your cursor in the main view, which, you know, controls your ship, just clicking it pauses the game. And then you can just click on anything in the control panel to do whatever. But pausing the game also like gives you a second to be like, okay, I got to slow down and move over here to avoid those two birds coming at me. So it's very useful. Pausing is very useful. I didn't realize that until several hours in. So I don't know if you want to add something like that to the tutorial or something. I know you mentioned pausing the tutorial, but like, I didn't even think.
To be honest, it says exactly what you said. I think it says exactly. Pausing is very useful in the game. I think it says that, to be honest.
And yeah. But this might just be a me thing. I constantly forget about the tools available to me in a game. Constantly, if it's not right in front of me, I will forget it's there.
I suppose there's a lot to take in as well. When you look at that screen, it's a.
There is a lot.
I can't see that anymore because I've seen it so much. But yeah, I imagine if you see it the first time or whatever, it's overwhelming.
It can be, but you have a lot of tool tips for your icons and everything, which is great. And the pausing is also nice. Was someone else about to say something? Did I interrupt someone?
No, but I know he can't do it because you'd have to rewrite the entire game. But I want like weapons on my cab. I want to blow those little bird things. Now that I know that they're actually beasts, right out of the sky.
Oh, no.
There are weapons. There are a lot of weapons in the game actually, but you just don't have them in the beginning.
As I suspected. Also, so we talked yesterday about that in the admin. As a channel, and I suspected that weapons will be something at one point. Another point I want to mention is I just watched on the stream, and I was very surprised how many times, Brian, you actually managed to avoid a crash. You were pretty lucky in your gameplay there.
It tells you. I'm telling you, it takes practice. This footage is maybe after playing the game for a couple of hours. Like I record this after playing on my own for a couple of hours, so it's practice. And excuse me.
So there really is weapons. At one point, I can stick like a shotgun out the passenger window.
What are some of the weapons you can get?
There's all kinds of things that stop it sort of captures another ship and it holds it still for a while. Then there's the usual beam weapon. There's a sort of a Gatling gun. There's a thing that creates sort of a blast around you and moves everybody away from you.
Ooh, I want that one.
There's also personal weapons. So there's like guns, hammers, axes, and all kinds of things to beat people with that you run into or where you land.
Oh, wait. So there are weapons for your taxi and weapons for your person?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah, in the beginning, it's all kind of brutal stuff that you could get at a hardware store, like hammers and machetes. And then you can get like lasers or, there's a couple of things.
And can you use those on passengers if they get unruly?
Yeah, you can. You can kill them as well, yeah.
What? Wait, you can kill your own? Oh, my God.
Yeah, you can. I mean, if that's the sort of thing you're into, I'm happy to oblige.
Oh, you can be a serial killer cabbie. Wow.
Kind of, yes. Oh yeah, definitely.
Dexter, the cabbie. Oh my God. That's amazing.
Aside from the fact that I've only seen it in one movie, so it's kind of an unusual combination. Where did you get the idea of space and taxi cabs together?
Well, I was working on a different space game, and one night I was relaxing and watching Taxi Driver, the movie, and I thought that's actually a great setting for a space game, because I was kind of struggling with, given the game I was working on, kind of grounding and purpose and something that's a bit different than the usual sci-fi game fare. And I was watching the movie and I thought, that's actually great. A taxi, it also gives a clear kind of mission that you're constantly on and a way of, grinding points or whatever. But that's where that comes from.
That's actually pretty interesting, because I really thought that it reminded me of exactly this movie.
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff in the beginning. I don't know. Did you guys ever go to the Moon Man?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. He says the first time you talk to him, he says this bit, and that's nearly straight from Taxi Driver.
Oh, really?
Robert De Niro's in it. Yeah, Robert De Niro's in it, and he gets sort of depressed. And they tell him, go talk to this cabbie or this other taxi driver. He's sort of a mentor of the others. He's called the Wizard in Taxi Driver. And he talks to him, and he also says this thing like, some people are lawyers, others are... I don't know exactly what he says, but I got that from Taxi Driver anyway. It's sort of a wink at Taxi Driver. And there's a couple of other things in it as well. But
wow. I've never seen Taxi Driver. It's always looked a bit intense for me. So I've never gotten around to seeing it. I know it's universally lauded, but I never got around to it.
Next time I pick up an angry passenger, I'm just going to turn around and say, "You talking to me? Are you talking to me?"
I should put that in it, the ability to do that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you totally should. So you say that the first planet you're on, Yamo, in the Yamo system, is kind of a shithole. What were if you went to a really nice planet, what would you like? What are some of the big differences you would see there? Would you see more places to stop, more expensive passengers and fares? Like, what would you see? What would you see?
The fares probably will be about the same, but you'll have more traders, more bars, more places to land, and there'll be less traffic. And the traffic will be all nice. They'll stop for you. Stuff like the other ships. Some of the ships do this on Yamo. They stop when you approach them. Well, that's basically it. And you might get more pickups. You'll get as well, because on Yamo you have to fly around for like a minute or so until you see a new fare somewhere popping up. On other planets there can be like loads of fares available. There's also a thing called landing platforms. Yamo doesn't have them, but you can land on them and then wait. They cost money, like, I don't know, 20, 80 voodoo or whatever. And if you land on them, you can wait about 10 minutes and a passenger will show up. It's sort of like a taxi rank.
Oh, so like like taxis waiting at the airport type of thing.
Yes.
Oh, that's awesome. So yeah.
Then again, like there's also planets that are worse than Yamo because they have criminals or other creatures that harass you.
Oh
or
gosh.
Certain weather conditions that aren't nice, or there's all kinds of things like that.
So
reason to have a weapon. Reason to have weapons on your cab and on your person.
So yeah. So your cab can get attacked by other people and like stolen or whatever?
You can get robbed. They'll try to follow you. Is one of the main on a lot of planets. There's little thugs that try to capture you, and then they'll try to take all your voodoo, all your money.
But they don't take the cab. They just take your money.
They don't take the cab. No.
That's fair. I mean, yeah. But money seems like a very hard thing to come by. So I could see how that would be like kind of devastating.
Yeah. You have to try in the beginning. You're paying 50% to the taxi company as well, and then you have to try. And what helps is if you get passengers that don't know their own destination, so they don't know where it is, because you get bonuses for that. So if you're on Yamo and you're just doing local trips on Yamo, it helps to just buy up all the place information that you can buy at the various landing sites. Because if you do know it and they don't, and you bring them there, I think it's already 1,000 voodoo bonus just for that.
Oh, wow. Oh, I didn't know that. Okay. So you go to the information place and you buy up all the information that you can.
No, not that the information, because the information is expensive. But if you go to like a bar and talk to somebody, they'll know directions to some things. Some of them will be places. And they only cost like 10 or something.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense. I didn't know you could do that. Okay. I'm going to start doing that.
If you click on any NPC portrait, you get a list of things they can talk about or they know about.
Oh, see, I've only talked to the Moon Man. I never talked to anybody else. So I should make I gotta talk to more people. That's really all there. I gotta get over my social anxiety and talk to more people.
It is a bit hostile. In fairness to you, Brian, it is a bit. They're not nice, are they?
Well, they always want money for a conversation, so that as default is not nice. That is like, oh, you want me to talk to you? You got to pay me. Like, how devastating would that be? Like, I will only talk to you if you pay me. Like, oh God, all right, am I that awful? What's wrong? Yeah, these folks will only give money in exchange for. These folks will only chat if you exchange some voodoo with them. But that is a great point. So it makes sense to stop at all the little places to talk to people and get information about the places and stuff like that. You know?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. Also similar for other planets in the system. You can get directions to those too, and then maybe have a bit of more information of what's on there and stuff.
Oh, so
maybe. Sorry. Maybe I should kind of do a YouTube tutorial myself or something. I don't know.
It would make sense. It would make sense. Like beginner, a lot of developers do like a beginner tips video, you know, that kind of thing. So that might be pretty, especially for a game, because there is so much going on in this game. There is what is the engine you're using again?
There's no engine. It's pure Java AWT.
Oh, wow. Oh my God.
Wait, you did this whole game in Java?
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh my God.
Wow.
So
it's really not.
No, I was gonna say, does that give you more flexibility than say something like Unity to pack as much as you have into this?
Yeah, and also I'd be worried about certain things being, it's nice in the beginning when you use an engine because everything seems easy, but then if you want to do it slightly different, it can get very complicated very quickly. So, and also I want to have fun with it. I just wanted to program something myself kind of from the ground up. I mean, it's just a thing I like.
It's kind of amazing because there are not a lot of games that are this big. That are also this small with a footprint in a drive footprint. You know what I mean? Because this is not even a gig. Am I remembering correctly? It's not even a gig in size.
Yeah, it's like 400 megabytes or something.
Yeah, it reminds me of Starflight, which was this huge galaxy on 2 low density 5.25-inch floppy disks. Because they used their own programming, like you did. They used their own programming basically to make this massive universe. And like, cause so many games are especially a game as big as this one, like take up gigabytes and gigabytes and gigabytes. The fact that this takes up less than a gigabyte is just astounding, especially given how much is going on. It just amazes me.
Well, thanks. I think just though, in fairness, it's because with other games, they often use 3D models and textures and stuff that really bulks up the footprint there. I think with me it's just
acting,
it's little images, and I don't have voice acting either. Exactly,
yeah. Voice acting takes up. I think in a lot of cases, voice acting takes up more space than graphics. I think in a lot of cases.
Really?
I think sound, like music and voice and everything, can take up even more space than graphics in a lot of games. It
definitely depends on the game.
Yeah, it definitely depends on the game. Absolutely. But you got good music in there though. I do like the music, and I like that there's a decent amount of it as well.
Thanks. Yeah, I don't think it's way enough. I'm gonna try and make some new tunes with every update, I think. But
nice.
Yeah, I just didn't get around to making more. But yeah, I did my best.
No, and I like how there's a radio station that tells you what the name of the song is and everything. You know, I really like that. It again makes the universe feel a lot more alive. Fernando asks, "Are the maps generated?"
Yeah, they are. But yes, they are. But there's like they all have a certain type, and that type determines what kind of things you see on that map.
Right. So Yamo might be. Is Yamo always the same, for example, or is Yamo different one place?
No. Well, for everybody at the moment it's the same. But as I add content to it, Yamo will look a bit different for new players. Not for you guys. But for new players, it will look different. Once a planet is established, it should look pretty much the same. Unless I make some massive change to it. It still shouldn't be a problem. But places might be differently layout, and the map might look different. But yeah, it's basically going to stay the same.
Yeah, it kind of makes sense to have at least one place be static, you know, to let people like talk about it and share tips and stuff like that. That makes sense.
Yeah, it's more like the placement of Yamo, whereabouts it is in the galaxy, and the type of sites that are on there. That's all kind of static. But the actual where water is, where not, how big it is, and where different places are actually located, that can be completely different.
Nice. Yeah, very nice. And sometimes I had fun just flying around too, and watching all the other ships fly around and stuff. I love how busy this planet feels. And I've played 5 or 6 hours, and I've really not gone to another planet, so I have no idea what they look like.
Yeah, that's I can make a little script for you, and you can try some other things out. Just something that gives you loads of warp jumps and stuff.
Okay.
You can fly around a bit if you want.
Wait, so you can buy like a warp jump if you want to? So you don't have to use
it. Yeah, the Moon Man will first teach you how to easier get off planets. Have your own, what's it called? Anti-graviton charges you use for that. And then he will tell you about how to get warp jumps in an easier way.
Oh, so you can go on your own from one system to another. You don't have to take
you can.
Okay, I didn't know that.
You don't.
I did not know that. Because so far I've only heard about the ferries and the liners. I didn't know that there was another way to move around. It's great though. I mean, but it's great that like if it's great that the player has that many options. Like if they want to use the warp jumps, they can. If they'd rather use a ferry, I guess they can. You know, if they want to.
Initially, actually, I had it only for so you sort of could get, so I could make a story out of that bit of getting warp. At the time, it was called Warp Course. Out of getting Warp Course, but then I just made it a main part of the game as well. All the transport and assisted departure and all that stuff, and I made it a lot cheaper as well. So it's actually feasible to use it.
Oh, see, that's great because players love having options, and so that sounds like fantastic. And especially in a galaxy this big, you're going to want to have a lot of options to move around. So that is, or a universe this big. Excuse me.
There's sort of teleport things too, and once you get your own home that you buy properly, homes can come with like what's it called, a warp beacon, which allows you to warp to your home system from anywhere in the galaxy. Or it can even have a teleporter or stuff like that.
Oh, that's nice. That is great. Because your home
takes a while to get there, though. Yeah, I admit.
Oh, I'm sure it's probably takes a ton of money. Yeah, I think Fernando, the exploration, if I'm guessing correctly, the exploration will come from taking the jobs, that the fares that will take you to places you haven't been to. That's my reckoning. I don't think you're going to want to just go out there on your own without any kind of money coming in, because you're always going to want to have money coming in.
Yeah. The idea is kind of that you save up for a while, and then you do maybe a bit of exploring, and you can just sleep at motels and eat at diners. And then once you start running out of money, you just go back home, refresh, and grind some money again, and then you do the same thing again, sort of like that.
See, that sounds perfect. That sounds utterly perfect. Because I love games that have both exploration and taxi missions. And so it's like, here we go. This is the entirety of this game. That's why it's one of my most anticipated games, sir. It's because you've basically tapped into something primal that I just absolutely adore.
Yeah, great. Thank you, Brian.
I'm a bit surprised now because how should I put it? I mean, it looked very complex from the first looks already, but what I'm hearing now, the game is really gigantic in complexity. If I get you right, that's great.
It is big. It still has a lot of work to be done on it, but yeah, there's a lot of stuff in it. Like, it's been, I don't know, I think I started in 2016 on this project, so it's been 6 years. I've been basically working on it nearly full time. So, I mean, I'm not the best programmer or anything, so things take a while. But yeah, there is a lot of stuff in it.
Well, I think the nice thing about indie game development is that if you're open and honest about your expectations and whatnot with your fans and your players, they'll give you all the time you need. They like what's that one game? Star Sector, Starfarer, whatever it's called.
Star Sector. Yeah.
Star Sector.
Oh,
it was Starfarer, but now it's Star Sector. That's been in quote unquote early access since 2010.
Yeah. I always look at. Sorry, go on, Brian.
No, go, please.
I also look at this game, and now I forget. I mean, what I kind of have in mind for Taxinaut is sort of something also like, I don't know if you know this game, Caves of COD. They seem to be in early access eternally.
Yes,
it's like a roguelike thing, and they keep just adding little systems and places and content to it. It doesn't really matter, whether the game is completely done or not. They just keep adding stuff to it. That's kind of what I want as well, to be honest.
Caves of CUD folks, if you've not played Caves of CUD, it is an astounding thing. It is. I've never lasted more than half an hour in a run of game because it's, but
yeah, it's brutal.
It's a brutal game, but the systems and the depth of that game is, And you're right. They just keep regularly adding stuff to it. It's really amazing. So that's a really good model to follow because it seems to be working great for them. It seems to be working really, really great for them.
Yeah, I've also I've done a lot of work on making it moddable as well, but it's not documented hardly at all. There is in the install package in the doc folder, there is a little example of how to create your own little planet and add it to the game.
Oh, wow.
But that's about it. And you need to know or be willing to learn Java kind of to use it. So yeah, I wouldn't get too excited, but I don't know.
So
maybe
if someone wanted to mod this into a Star Wars game where you're a taxi driver on Coruscant, they could do that.
Yeah, definitely.
Now you know someone's going to do that. You know someone's going to recreate the Star. At least I hope someone's going to recreate the Star Wars universe. Can you imagine being a taxi driver in the Star Wars universe? like I had 2 stormtroopers as a fare today, and a Jedi yesterday.
Well, you know, the new Lego Star Wars game actually does have a taxi service on Coruscant.
Really?
Yeah, there are taxi stops, and you can call a taxi to go to another it's your fast travel, basically.
Terrific. Yeah. Is that the Skywalker saga? Is that the one?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Right. I had to pick that up at some point. But
you know, I did have a thought though regarding Brian not knowing about pausing early on, that you could pause the game. Maybe it might be something that you would see in the tutorial, which you do, but maybe after your 3rd crash, you get a reminder, hey, you seem to be crashing a lot. Did you know that you can pause?
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah. Okay. That does sound good.
That's a really great idea.
Yeah, I can definitely do that.
Yeah, that would give the players this is a reminder that you can do this, and this is why this is a trigger for that situation.
Although as you say it, I'm taking it, and when it happens, it could also piss somebody off because it could be really pedantic. Like, I see you're crashing a lot. Could piss somebody off.
Yeah,
or it could be the other driver yelling at you. Why are you crashing so much? Don't you know you can pause, you son of a bleep, bleep, bleep.
Yeah, if you work it into the dialogue somehow, that could also be an option. Yeah.
Why aren't you pausing, you son of a beep? Oh, yeah.
I mean, it could be communication from the company. If you want to,
or that too,
keep your costs down. Yeah, if you want to keep your costs down, it might help to pause when you need to do something and you're not able to directly pay attention to where you're going.
Oh God, Clippy shows up and reminds you to.
There you go.
I see your
Cabby.
I see you're crashing a lot. Do you want to learn how to pause?
You might add Clippy actually.
But instead of Clippy, it's like Cabby or something. You're right, like some
Cabby.exe.
I want Clippy as a passenger now.
Oh
like the actual.
It seems you haven't been able to avoid other vehicles. Would you like some help with that?
So I'm definitely going to do something with that.
Oh, that sounds great. Yeah, if you keep crashing, he's like the only fare that'll take you.
Actually, that might be a good idea to have it as a fare, so that it just shows up as a fare. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I can do something with that. Like, where you're not allowed to take other fares until you take this course with Clippy or Cabby or whatever. It teaches you again how to fly a cab in a very pedantic fashion.
Yeah, but only after you crash. Like, if you crash enough, he'll be the only fare that shows up, and it's the only one you can take.
Oh, right. Yeah, it could be like that as well. Yeah, they're all Clippy.
Oh, that's terrific. But I guess you can't use Clippy, so you got to use something. I don't know what. Because I don't know if Microsoft would come down on you for using Clippy.
No, I do think calling it Cabby and having it be a taxi cab with eyes.
Yeah, like an anthropomorphized cab.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's good. You can have it be Cabby. Because on, I don't know if you've seen Star Trek Lower Decks, but they have Badgie, which is, oh God. If you haven't seen Star Trek Lower Decks, it's worth getting Paramount for a month or two just for that. I'm not even kidding. It is worth getting Paramount Plus I don't know if they have Paramount Plus in Ireland, but it's worth getting Paramount Plus for a month or two just for Lower Decks, and they have Badgie.
Lower Decks.
What was that?
I haven't even heard of Lower Decks.
Oh yeah, it's their it's an animated Star Trek show, and it's in its 3rd season right now, and it is so funny. If you know anything about Star Trek, oh my god, it's so funny.
I do. Yeah.
If you're lucky, you are even able to get it on Amazon or Netflix in Ireland.
Oh, that's right. Because things are. I mean, yeah. Because here it's on Paramount Plus, but yeah, maybe I think in England at least it's on Netflix. Maybe.
Yeah, I don't think
know.
you can get Paramount here without a VPN or something.
Oh,
and even then,
but it might be on a different service over there. It might be on like Netflix or Prime or something. Depending on.
I'll definitely have a look. I have both. So
definitely have a look because oh my god, Lower Decks. So that's the
finished
Lower
watching
Decks.
the original series again not long ago.
Oh, nice, very nice. I've been trying to get the wife interested in watching the original series, and I just can't. Like next, like Next Gen is her first, and that'll probably be the oldest Trek she ever watches. So no original series, no animated series, and she loves Lower Decks. I'm like, if you watch the animated series, you would get 20 to 30% more of the jokes in Lower Decks because they call back the animated series a lot in Lower Decks, and I'm like, if you watch the animated series, you would laugh harder at Lower Decks. And she's like, nah. I'm like, okay, I can't force it.
Yeah, my daughter and I watched both Next Generation and Voyager, the whole series together, and then I said, "Let's watch the original series," and she was out pretty quick.
What about wait? What about Deep Space Nine? What about Deep Space Nine?
Yeah, we tried that too, and also it didn't click with her.
That's a shame. That's a shame. That's the best one. It does.
Yeah, I know.
The first
I haven't even seen it.
The first season, if you want, I can send you a guide on which episodes to watch your first time through and which episodes to skip. It makes it a lot more bearable your first time through. And
then on a subsequent watch, then you can decide to watch all of it. But the guide that I think I linked that one a long time ago.
Yeah, it's on Medium. It's called it's called Deep Space Nine in 82.5 hours. I think it's called, and it lists only the episodes you should watch your first time through. And I think in season 1 there's only like 6 episodes that they want you to watch your first time through because season 1 is kind of rough of Deep Space Nine. It is not the easiest thing to watch. It was very uneven.
I'm trying to remember what the last bit we'd actually watched was. We did watch a good bit of season 1, I think. Maybe even a bit of season 2, but
yeah, seasons 1 and 2 are a bit uneven, like Jose in the chat says. There's some amazing episodes in season 1 or 2, but there's also a lot of garbage.
I wouldn't say garbage necessarily.
Okay, not garbage, but it's
weaker compared
way
to
weak.
the rest of the show.
Yeah.
And the trick to that is they were still finding their footing, and it took them a couple of seasons to really work into it. But there were some great episodes like Duet.
Yeah. From season 1. Oh my God. One of the best episodes of Trek, period, I think.
Duet? Which one is that?
Duet is basically... It's hard to describe it without spoiling it. Cardassian comes to the station, and sorry, I thought I heard knocking at my door.
He is.
It sounded like that was it. A Cardassian comes to the station. The end.
Yeah, the Cardassian is thought of as being a war criminal.
Yeah, and
that's a setup for the episode without going into it any further because that would be spoiler territory.
It's a very Kira heavy episode, which is why it's one of my favorites because she's my favorite character in all of Star Trek. But there are a lot of Deep Space Nine gets so good, but you gotta suffer through a bit of it to get there. But it's worth it because you get multiple wars. And some of the darkest, best episodes of Trek, period. And some of the best characters and some of the best arcs in Trek.
Character development and racial development.
Oh my God.
Because even the Ferengi and Klingons get a lot of racial development.
Oh my god. Yeah, cultural
and
development.
Character development. Yeah. As far as that goes. And character development, even some of the side characters get more character development than most main characters do in their own series.
Yeah, agreed. Oh my god. There's an episode in season 7 that focuses on 2 side characters for like almost the entirety of the episode. And it's one of the most moving episodes of Trek you will ever see. It's called It's Only a Paper Moon. Oh my god. So yeah, I will send you that guide because it makes going through DS9 your first time. I know, sorry folks, tangent, I know, but you bring up
one of us are kind of like space taxis. So,
yeah, you bring up Star Trek, we're gonna talk about it. I mean, that's just it's such a big part of many of our lives that we're gonna talk about it.
Have you mentioned the word after that? Nothing else is discussed for 2 hours.
I mean, oh my god. I think one of the most dense podcasts we had was talking about Star Trek games because there are so many of them. Well, there used to be. There aren't that many now, sadly, but there are so many Trek games, and they're all over the place.
Some of them are really, really good, too.
There's so many amazing ones, and then so many that are just garbage. And I'm using the term properly that time. There are so many of them that are just garbage.
Yeah, anyway. I tried Star Trek Online long ago. I don't remember why, but
probably because it was free.
I didn't stick around long anyway. I don't know.
That's not unfair. It's that game is like, I don't know if antithesis is the word, but it is very emblematic of the unevenness of Star Trek gaming. Because you have the one part of the game that's really great, and then you have the other part of the game that's not so great. And they're so intertwined, you can't do one without doing the other. It's like, oh, okay. So, yeah, I've as much as I love Star Trek, I've never lasted long with Star Trek Online either, because half of the game is amazing, and the other half is not. And it's just a goddamn shame. So anyway, so Taxinaut, yeah. So I guess speaking of larger ships, when you're flying around the universe, are there just other taxis or other smaller ships around, or will you see like military, like battleships and larger ships flying around?
Not so much, but they are there. Like in one of the systems early on in the main quest, main storyline, you can see bigger battleships there in that system. But yeah. Actually, to be honest, the space part probably needs a bit of work and needs a bit of love. It's a bit silent now in space. There are other ships there, but could be a lot more interesting, I think.
Well, that also kind of makes sense because space is vast and most of it is empty. So that does kind of make sense, but I see where you're coming from. I mean, it would make sense to have a lot of the action on planets for a game like this.
Yeah.
But I see where you're coming from. Make space a little more vibrant. I get that. But
I do want it, as you say. I do want that feeling of sort of emptiness in space. That is important. I do want to keep that. Yeah, I'm never going to make space like the planets are or something like that.
No, that makes sense. I mean, it makes sense to have a little bit of traffic in space. Like, not everyone's going to be going to space. You know, like
in orbit maybe, but not necessarily
between planets or between systems. There's going to be a lot less traffic. You know, so that does make sense. Because space is fucking huge. What did Douglas Adams say about space? You may think it's a long walk down to the chemist, but that's just peanuts to space.
Yeah, I made the systems. I don't know. Well, you haven't been off the planet a lot yet, but I made them like 13 times bigger or something. It used to be very small. I think it made the game feel a bit Nintendo-y or something. I don't know. So I made it a lot bigger.
No, that's good. That's good. It should feel it, like because when I went off the planet, I had a fare that was on another planet, and I forgot about the ferry, so I was just like flying around. I'm like, wait, it's how far away? I'm never gonna get there. I got to go back to the planet and dump this guy. Which is what I did. Which is exactly what I did. But yeah, no, it felt really big. Just from looking at the map, it felt really big, which is nice. Like it's supposed to. So it would be easy to forget. It would be easy to forget that it's more than one planet when you're flying around on this one planet doing all these fairs and whatnot. It would be easy to forget that it's that it's a massive universe.
Yeah, I just spent the last 2 years making the whole main quest, and you guys are still on Yamo.
Well, I mean, I'm fine with that because I love flying around doing the missions. I love the grinding, so I don't mind that. But yeah, the main quest is finding a bird, I think, right?
Oh,
or someone named Birdie.
It's a character called Birdie. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Right.
Yeah.
It's a friend named Birdie. Right.
I don't know if you ever saw at one point I posted a picture of my wall that all these, like the whole big map of the main quest on it was huge. So I finally have that finished now.
Oh, that's amazing.
I don't know. It's just, was a big thing.
I honestly love games where there's a main quest, but you can ignore it for a while if you want to and do your own thing to grind and do missions and stuff. I love that. Like, I've never finished a main quest in an Elder Scrolls game. Never. I've done thousands of side quests, and I've played with the main quest a little bit, but I've never finished the main quest in an Elder Scrolls game. So yeah, I don't mind the ability to like, oh, there's a main story. I can do that later, So
Exactly.
I like that.
Do what they want, of course.
Exactly. I like that. Your game has a lot of freedom, but so I love how your game is a sandbox. It is a big sandbox, but because of the nature of being a taxi cab driver, you have guidance, you have fares, you have missions, stuff like that. So I love that. I tried to keep it away from what other space games already do well or not so well. Trading and all that stuff. I try to keep away from that as well. I just want to focus on that particular atmosphere of being a taxi driver. Which is great because I can't think of another space game that has solely focused on that. I mean, there are a lot of space games that have taxi missions in them along with other types of missions, of course. But
it's not like you're starting and then trying to run your own company.
Yeah. This isn't European Taxi Simulator.
No, there's no company management ultimately or something like that, or where you're building up an empire or something. There's nothing like that.
You just eventually buy your own cab so you can keep all of the fares.
That's right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you get a better home. Yeah, right. And stuff like that. And you maybe discover more interesting planets.
And you feel more and more connected to the universe as you go. So
hopefully, yeah.
That's perfect. That's what I want. I mean, I've only done some fairs and flown around and stuff. I love spending time in this game because even this one planet just feels like I could see myself wanting to be a taxi driver in real life on a planet like this. Like in the future, I could see myself wanting to do this job. So well done there, because
Thank you.
Just spending time flying around Yamo and getting a few fares and whatnot was a lot of fun. But now I'm going to want to stop at all the places and talk to all the people, which just gives me more to do. I wasn't even doing that because I'm like, why would I do that? I just want to get fares. But now I have a reason to do that. So you just gave me more of a reason to be more connected to the universe is talking to people. So that's freaking great.
Yeah, I'm glad you like it.
I love it. I have to say, it's really at the top of my list of anticipated games. No pressure. I'm not trying to put pressure on you.
No, go ahead. That's fine.
It's just my own personal excitement. I'm not putting you on like Space Game Junkies top 10 upcoming bullshit game. I don't do that shit. But
if you ever want to do something like write a little story for it or a character or something, just tell me.
Oh.
I'm very open to that kind of stuff.
So. Oh. Ooh, okay.
You just opened Pandora's box.
Oh, you're gonna have a passenger that wants to be an aspiring YouTuber that's been invited to a local branch of Google Inc. headquarters or something like that. I don't know. I'll figure it out.
Yeah,
But
something like that. Yeah.
We've talked about the game, and I wasn't here 2.5 years ago when you were last on the show, but we haven't talked anything about the developer. And I was kind of wondering, something I often wonder with, indie developers that are on is what first made you want to do game development in the first place? Did you just wake up on a Sunday with nothing else to do, or you're just something that was always a driving ambition? What attracted you to the whole thing to begin with?
That's kind of, that could be a long and boring story. It's definitely a bit of there's nothing else to do. But it's also, I've been a software developer since 1996 or something. But, normally for like web companies and, I don't know, controllers for fridges or all kinds of stupid stuff like that. And then eventually I just really wanted to make a game. I was making comic books and sort of like poetry books and drawings and stuff first. And I was more getting into an area where I wanted to make sort of an interactive comic book where you explore the world. And then, I don't know, then I just thought like, why don't I just make a game instead? So that's kind of how it happened.
Have you considered taking the game mobile? It seems like it would lend itself to that.
Yes, and I've also looked at, as a starters, to Steam Deck and stuff, but I think the resolution of mobile devices isn't really high enough for the game to be played comfortably on that. Also, playing it with a gamepad is very awkward. Partly because of that, I'm thinking of putting in difficulty sliders where it's less busy, or so it's more easy to play with a gamepad when that becomes possible. But what's also problematic on mobile is that real Oracle Java, so to speak, isn't really supported. It's Android Java, which is different.
Oh, okay.
It's the same language, but there's a whole thing with libraries that you use and that have, I don't know, that's somebody else's property and blah, blah, blah. It's different anyway.
See, I always prefer big screen telephones, and this is the kind of thing that I could see myself whipping this out while I'm waiting for somebody to come back online in a boring business meeting or something.
Yeah, but even on a big screen phone, like that side control panel would be just so tiny on a phone. I don't know how you.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah, I don't know how that would translate well over to a smaller screen. Like even a Switch with its big screen, I don't know if that would work very well.
It may not be practical.
Yeah, I don't think it would.
You could have a pull-out just like you do with the main, do with the main menu.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. If the main menu, you mean that it slides out from the right?
Yeah, it slides out. Right. I don't know. It was just a thought because I'm really big into mobile games sometimes as well as PC games.
Did you try the widescreen option then? Did you?
No, I don't have a widescreen monitor.
There's a widescreen option?
No, I mean, yeah, but it's unsupported because on some planets it affects the frame rate on some planets. I don't know, but you can turn it on in the settings, and then there's the menu sort that you have on the right with the map and all the icons that slides to the right.
Oh,
and the whole screen is your main map view basically, but it's not really a supported thing.
So when does the map come into view? When you pause it? Like if you pause it, does it slide back into view? Is that what happens?
There's a little button on the side. If you move your mouse over it, the menu just comes out and the game pauses.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, it's too bad. I can definitely see how it could work on mobile, but yeah, just the way I designed it, it's actually kind of impossible because of the resolution and stuff.
Yeah, I don't see it being very practical on mobile, honestly.
No.
Well,
It's fine. It's fine. Not every game has to be on mobile. I mean, it'd be great.
I
but-
just wanted to say that despite the fact that I kept crashing into absolutely everything, I still found the game very relaxing.
Oh, good. Great. That's great.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that. There's kind of a pacing to the game that is not stressful, and
Yeah, I was hoping that.
yeah. So I could see this being a relaxing game. I could totally see this being
Especially now on Yamo, where you can go home and just eat and recover for free, and all your damage is repaired at your home for free. And all
that is really
would be
nice.
the case.
Yeah, that is really
Yeah.
nice. That was not a thing last time I played. So that is really nice that you added that. That'll definitely make approachability for newer players much easier. I think.
Yeah.
Now-
It was kind of brutal, the first version, yeah.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask, if you're in the main view and you pause, can you click on buildings to see what they are?
No, that's not there. No.
Okay.
I'm working on the scanner where you can scan other ships
Oh, okay.
and see a bit more. But
So if you want to know what a building is, you have to actually land at it.
yes,
Okay, that's fine. I just was
Do the
curious about
symbols on the building actually mean things? There's like a spaceport symbol is always this. Repair shop
yes,
is always that.
yes. A spaceport is always the same, and information is always the same. But on a particular planet, there might be like 3 or 4 different icons for bars or something. But on the planet, they're going to be just those 3 and 4 over 50 bars or whatever there is on the planet. But another planet might have different icons again.
Okay. So it makes sense to explore a little bit, land at places, get information, talk to people, that sort of thing.
Yeah, and you can and you can also see in the directory at the side of the minimap, you can kind of see it. I think it says what it is.
Right.
So it might say it has a type like bar or diner or
So
and from. Sorry.
no, I was going to ask, if you land at a place, does it get added to that directory on the side there, so you know where it is?
Yes, that's
Oh.
right. And you can also in the galaxy map there's a filter, and you can find any type of place.
That's great.
That you've seen before and stuff like that.
I have to say, I love the UI. I love how you can scroll the map. I love how you can scroll the destinations with your mouse wheel. I love how icon heavy it is because it's very clear. To me, I gotta say, I love the UI. It's a great UI, and the fact that you can pause at any time and manipulate it just makes the game that much more, again, approachable. And I'm sure that'll really help newer players. Hopefully of which there will be a lot tomorrow.
Speaking of, you mentioned the sliders, difficulty sliders. One of them might be that you turn collision damage off, or that it's, maybe something like a very low chance to actually cause damage. And and then that way, if baby difficulty, so to speak, where if you have a child that's playing, I don't know who would necessarily want very young kids to play because of the subject matter, but still, you might have younger kids playing that might have a little less patience for things like that.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, there's already some, believe it or not, like you have a little a beginner's luck item in your panel that already makes the damage from birds less, or that thing, like you say, there's a chance of damage occurring. That chance is less if you have beginner's luck, stuff like that. But yeah, a slider. I'm also thinking of a slider to make prices, things cheaper or more expensive. If you want, all prices are kind of based around a sort of an average daily income for a normal taxi driver, so I can change that sort of pretty easily. So I might make a slider for that too.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that would probably be very useful for newer players, especially.
I would like to take the subject to another point. What are your future plans for the game? I mean, you, as far as I got it, you begin with early access. What are your plans, actually?
Well, I'm planning to bring out a significant feature update about every 3 months, at least for the coming year. And after that, depending on how I do, I might have less time actually to work on it because, I'll have to start making some money somewhere else. But I probably will be working on it for many, many, many years and adding stuff to it.
Awesome.
I do want to take it to sort of a version 1. That's sort of a standard where I think, well, that could stand on itself alone as a finished game. I do want that, but basically I'm just going to keep adding stuff to it.
Great. Does anyone have any more questions, or should we start wrapping up? Okay, we'll start wrapping up. It's been over an hour. So Jasper, I want to thank you for taking the time to come back on to talk to us, especially with your game coming out on Steam tomorrow. Oh my God. Yeah. Folks, if you're unaware, again, if you're unaware,
thanks for having. Sorry, Brian.
No, it's doing this without a camera leads to interruptions. And what are you gonna do? I mean, none of us are using cameras, so it's just gonna happen. We try.
There's lag as well.
Oh, is there? I'm sorry.
No, that's probably on my side.
Oh. But anyway, that's gonna do it for our episode this week, folks. Again, the game is Taxinaut. It comes out onto Steam Early Access tomorrow, September 15th, 2022, or today, if you're listening to this when the MP3 drops, or if you're listening to the future, it's already out on Steam. Go get it. It is really something special. It is definitely something unique. I'm really enamored with it. I love it to death. I encourage you to check it out. Is it going to be the same price on Steam that it is on itch right now, like $7.99?
Yes, $7.99. Well, depending on what region,
right?
Steam is there's a whole list of regions that have different prices. So, but in the United States, $7.99.
$8 US for this massive, massive game, y'all. It is a steal. My God. Just a steal. This game is huge. So next week on the show, we have another guest. Next week on the show, we're going to welcome back the developer of Rank Warmaster, which is a mix of space and planetary combat and city building, which is interesting. And tomorrow we'll see you back here for our final entry of EF 2000, in which maybe I'll make it back to base in one piece. I don't know. Jasper, again, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to talk to us. Great,
thank you, Brian.
Great chat, everyone. Thank you, everyone in the chat, as Thorsten just said, for being as active and inquisitive as you are. We love you. And with that, and finally, please get vaccinated if you haven't already. We all need to get vaccinated. So please, if you haven't already, for the love of God, get vaccinated. It's the only way as many of us as possible, will get through this. So thank you so much, everyone, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.